Body map's a pretty fun process if you get the chance to do it. I really enjoy the sense of connecting with experiences, telling stories through one body, and also connecting with other people who are interested in body maps. I first had a stimulus to remind me of experiences or clients that I worked with in art therapy. The stimulus sometimes for me was either a sculpture or a collage. I'd look at this stimulus and then I'd do a mindfulness meditation. Close my eyes and connected with all the sensations in my body. So it usually went from foot to head. And I go through the whole body and acknowledge all the sensation. And then I think about how I'd like to represent those sensations in a visual form. The next process for me is to outline my body on a big canvas. The body outline can provide that outline and that structure and that boundary to work in. When I went up to the body map and saw the body outline, I initially reflected on clients that I'd worked with in the past week and some of the trauma stories. So it was almost like I was painting their stories. One particular person was actually talked about being stabbed in the chest. So it might start off with very loose and wet and relaxed in the process with paint dripping everywhere, to a more refined process. I might paint or spray or sprinkle. I like to spray, mainly for the fun of it. I just like, and also like watching all the drips drip down. And to me, spraying feels like cleansing. Well, the essence of mindfulness is actually being really present. It's not about really thinking about anything in the process, but also acknowledging that we do have thoughts. Thoughts will come and go during the mindfulness process. In this painting, I really had the desire to protect my little baby inside me. So I really made a focus of doing quite an intense or vivid circle in the middle, and almost like a shield. I was actually focusing on my sensations that were going through my body and actually imagining them as colours or patterns. I find colour very invigorating. I don't know where my colour sense comes from, but to me they seem to fit together. I place my symbols based on the body scan. That's something you can look into as well. The metaphors behind some of the images that you put on your work. bird to me symbolises a variety of things in different paintings. I always seem to put a bird in different contexts. So usually it represents something that I desire to nurture. For example, at the moment I'm pregnant, so I put a lot of birds inside myself, or inside the image or around this area. I also have had birds in the centre, and that sort of represents someone or something, or feeling the need to be comforted. And I guess when I have birds flying or their wings, it's this sense of freedom and fun. So birds to me can symbolise a variety of things, just depending on where I put them. With art therapy, we don't interpret anyone else's work. It's really important it's the artist who comes up with what it is. It might look like something different to you, but to me, that's where the meaning has to come from, because I am the actual creator of the work. I try not to think too much when I'm painting, because if I'm too focused on my thoughts, and I feel it takes away from that actual process of just doing and being there with the paint, feeling the texture of the paint, just being present. For me, it's really important to have a space where I really feel comfortable creating. It would probably be my studio, where I feel most comfortable. I use a dab technique because I feel like it pulls it all together, but it also, when I'm doing this constant repetition, it actually feels like I'm in a very meditative space. I'm in what's referred to as flow. And so that's where I really find repetition relaxing, so I think it really is something that comes into all of my paintings. The purpose of body mapping is very different everywhere you go. For me personally, I used it to tell stories of people that I had worked with in an art therapy context. I also used it to process my own experiences, and in doing so, it gave me a deeper level of self-awareness. It enabled me to tell stories through colours and symbols, and it enabled me to gain new perspectives and reframe experiences that I was finding difficult. So I've really enjoyed this process.